And now I want to bring in our next guest. This guy was Eric's right-hand man, really, and went everywhere with Eric, did everything with Eric, for Eric. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jan to the show. What's up, Jan?
Hey, what's up, everybody? To correct you, I didn't do everything with Eric. I didn't do the girls with Eric.
Well, we'll get into the romance. There's a lot to cover here, and thank you, number one, for doing the show. How you been, man? It's been a minute since we talked.
All right, just been kind of hectic. I lost my parents in the last year, and then became homeless, so I had to move back to California with some friends.
Well, listen, I'm glad you found somewhere to go in Cali, and I'm sure this community here will help you out, because you really put in so much time and effort. I guess we'll start with you because you were, first of all, my first question to you, because I mentioned the call in 2002. Were you with Eric at that time? Were you taking care of him and staying with him? Or?
I was helping him during that time. It was when he was still living with his parents in Rodell, and they would go out on vacation or whatever, and I'd go help him. And that night, his parents were somewhere, and I stayed that day that he called into the show, so I was there when he called.
And Luigi, what did he call in to the show with that first call? I don't remember.
The first call was him coming to the defense of one Miss Kelly Clarkson, because previously, I believe it was the day before, Howard had called Kelly chubby. I think I don't even know that he called her fat.
Oh,
fat. Or maybe he did.
Fat and unattractive.
Fat and unattractive. All right, I was trying to be kind. And Eric decided that he wanted to call in and let Howard know that he disagreed. That was really the crux of it all, and come to her defense. And Howard, like he did, smelled gold.
Now,
and kept him on.
So now, jumping over to Johnny for a second, I'm curious how the world of your dad and the world of Eric collided. Was there a particular thing that happened that these two? I remember your dad. I see your dad as like a P.T. Barnum. He sees Eric on the TV one day and goes, "This is my fucking guy," right?
Oh yeah. Well, what happened was, my first and foremost, my dad loved little people. He really loved midgets. I mean, he genuinely did. I mean, it was like a passion of his. It was weird. And when my dad had already been going on Stern since 2006, and Eric was one of his favorite people. I mean, all he'd do is sit there and listen to Howard all day long. And what ended up happening was, I don't remember how he met him, but there was a guy named James Betterton, I think his name is, and he knew Eric. And he put my dad and Eric together, and then Eric and my dad became friends. And I don't know where the idea came from that Eric was my dad was Eric's manager. I really don't know how that happened, but it just kind of, I guess, evolved naturally. It was a weird thing.
I think, Johnny, I think it was your dad met the guy that was the co-host of American Idol. The first year they had the two hosts.
Dunkelman.
Yes. And so what did James Betterton have to? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, all I know is they got together and, it was a match made in heaven. Yeah. My dad, I'll tell you, you want to hear one thing?
Sure.
The only time, and I'm not joking you, I mean it with all my heart. The only time I ever really saw my dad cry, actual tears, was when Eric passed away. And I went over to his house. He called me and he was like sobbing. And I'm like, what is wrong? He said, Eric died. I'm like, what? And he was crying. And I went over to his house and he was like literally emotionally sobbing. It was, I mean, I've seen his other friends die. I mean, he was really impacted by it for some reason.
Yeah. Your dad was amazing. When I was working on the news team, he was like essential for so many great stories about Eric, because he would be the guy to tip me off, and he would tell me exactly what's going on or what he's working on with Eric. And then I would reach out to Eric and set him up, hey, so what's going on with you today? What are you working on now? And Eric would go, and I already had all the information from your pops filling me in. So in case he left anything out, I could ask him about it, and he would have to now, because while Eric was at times an asshole, he really never lied. He usually would fess up to something when you called him on it. And so having that information from your dad, that backdoor info, was so great. And your dad was such a genius with him, and just came up with, I mean, the stuff that people love about Eric, the legendary segments. I mean, your dad's fingerprints are all over that. You know, they're amazing.
Hey, thanks for watching that clip. We got a bunch more stuff from a bunch of different other shows. So if you want to support us, you want to be a part of what's happening here, subscribe, notify, and get yourself a membership. 2 levels, $5, $10. We got more bonus shows than we know what to do with. So help us out. Get in here.